Hello YouTube! Why, you might ask, do I have a block of wood on the table? Because it's time to make some more bus bars. I've collected enough cells to make a couple more battery modules, which of course means I need to make some bus bars. Today I will be using common 14 gauge solid house wire. 12 gauge will work as well, just need fewer strands of it. I'll be taking 4 14 gauge wires, cutting them to the approximate length I need, twisting them together in my vise, and then crimping them together. So the first step is to remove the insulation from the wires. There is a faster way to do this, but I haven't come up with it yet. So I'm just going to do it the slow way. So first step is to get an approximate length in the bus bar form for the bus bar that I want to make. I made this bus bar mold to be about the right position to have the wire sit between two cells on these little 18650 holders. The wire will run approximately along the center piece here, allowing for easy jumpering from cell to cell to the bus bar. And I'll take the wire, put it in this form until the wires come out at the end, approximately where I want to crimp them. The length at the end is not critical, since the bus bars will be folded back over themselves once the battery is assembled. So that looks about right. Quick double check of the form here. Yeah, it looks pretty good. So I'll make a note of that position on the wire here. So since I want 4 strands about the same length, I'll take this pinch point and fold the wire over on itself. So it's more or less folded in two. And I'll do that again. Again, this is all approximate. Fold the wire on itself. That's about right. And fold it one more time, like so. Now I'll gather all 4 of the end pieces here, cut them. Leave these a little bit longer than I would like, so that if there are any screw-ups, I can trim them down. Now a smart man would have planned ahead and made some type of jig like Average Joe did to remove the insulation. However, I did not plan ahead, so I'm just going to use my wire strippers to remove the insulation. I use the size 14 hole to remove the size 14 insulation. Makes sense. This is the more tedious part of assembling the bus bars. The actual bus bar assembly is very quick once you get the insulation off. Let's see if number 16, yes, number 16 is a little faster. The hole is smaller. Right, so that is 1 freshly cleaned wire. Now to do the other 3. Same way as the others. I'm going to try using the number 16 gauge, the number 14 wire. Seems to go a little bit faster than using the correct gauge. Still not easy on the hands though. Quick check to make sure that they're both about equal. Yeah, that's pretty close. Right, so now we have 4 bare pieces of copper, all approximately the same length. So the next piece is to take them all together, bundle them up, and put them in the end of my cordless drill. Just feed them into the chuck, try to get them more or less centered. You can see that the strands are already starting to twist together. That's what we want. Now as you can see at this point, all the strands are more or less going in random directions, but they're all held tight at the other end by the bench vise and held tight at this end by the drill. Now I'm going to try to hold this as taut as I can and run the drill, and these strands will just come together. So it popped out before it finished, but you can already see strands are starting to form a nice bundled cable. Basically, the tighter it's held at the other end and the straighter it's held while you're bundling it, the straighter the bundle will be and the tighter the strands will be bundled together. So I pulled it a little bit tighter. You can see one wire is still wandered off. Not a big deal. Just run it through one more time. It's a little too tight, so I'll back it off. All the loose strands have been magically pulled together. We can see that relatively clearly. Nice stranded bus bar. Also nicely rigid too. A little bit of spring to it. Now the last piece is one of the trickier ones, is taking the bus bar and bending it into the shape dictated by the jig with the wires approximately even in length. We want it more or less square on this end here so they can sit properly. So originally the untwisted wires were out to about here, but as they twisted in the vise, they shrank to about here. So I left the wires a little bit long on purpose to compensate for that. Let's bring the ends together here and crimp a 1/4 inch lug on the end here, and we'll have a bus bar. So I've tried the method of using a hammer, and I've tried soldering these bus bar lugs, but realistically the best way to do it is with a hydraulic crimper. It works okay. It will eventually apparently leak hydraulic fluid, but until then, it works pretty well. I'm using a 16mm die, I believe, to crimp this lug. It's a little bit small, but better a little bit too tight in the crimp than too loose. Slide the die into the cylinder here, and put the locking pin in. Set it to off to release the cylinder, and insert the lug that's going to be crimped. Make sure that the crimper is set to on, and pump it slowly closed. I like to get it most of the way closed till it's just about to apply pressure. Make sure that it's firmly in place, and then press it. It's not an elegant looking process, it just has to work. And then release. Quick double check to make sure that it still fits. So I got a little bit deformed in the crimping, so I'm going to shape it again on the jig. The crimp is nice and secure, always good. Now to do something that I meant to do earlier and forgot, put some heat shrink on the exposed bus bar, make it look a little more professional and prevent against short circuits. This will also serve as a convenient reminder of which end is positive and which end is negative to avoid some excitement when I connect it to the rest of the batteries. A little heat gun to shrink it. Plugging it in would help. And then a quick test fit on some cell holders. And it's a little bit too large, so just shrink it down to size here. Want it to just go over the edge of the cell holders here. Better be slightly too long than too wide. If it's too wide, it'll short circuit, but too long can be trimmed. So that will sit something like that. Obviously, on the actual battery, it'll be held in place, but it gives you a rough idea of where it sits in between the 4 cells. So one really good bit of advice that I got from Pete, i.e. hbpowerwall, a little too late before I actually built 2 packs, was don't make these ahead of time. Make them when you're ready to build a pack, because copper likes to oxidize, and oxidization prevents solder from sticking correctly. Now there are ways you can fix this with a wire wheel or whatever, but easier to just make them on the day you're going to use them rather than assemble a whole bunch ahead of time and have to clean them when you're trying to assemble them on the battery. Good advice, Pete. I wish I'd have known about it earlier. That's all there is to it. Now I just need to make up a positive one of these, and I'll have all I need to assemble another pack. Anyway, hope you found that video interesting. Like, comment, share, all that good stuff, and I'll see you on the next one.